Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you all are doing well. I'm here today to present a chapter of my life that has been the fabric of who I am today. I come from the maritime industry, where we serve the 80% of the world cargo and logistics. I stand before you to talk about a lot of things that has shaped me from this industry. We are going to talk about emotions, maritime piracy, hijacking, survival, and motivation. At the age of 19-20, that's when I took this career. And to be honest with you, it was not out of choice. I had very limited options at hand at that time. But till date, I do not regret taking that decision because it has helped me grow a lot. This industry has a lot of positive aspects. You go around the world on a ship owned by an owner. You go see different cultures, meet different people, and trust me, you don't have to stand in any visa queues to enter these countries. It also helps you become a better person. You start taking your responsibilities better. The timetable becomes better. Because for me, I have spent a substantial amount of time in my life in the Middle East, where I did my school and early college. And those days, I would easily call myself as a Gulf kid. Now, the term Gulf kid might be a little alien to some of you, but just to put it in simple words, life was much comfortable and easier and relaxed back then as compared to the challenges and the hustle at my age what I would have faced back home in India. So I needed something like that, an incident like that in life, to really know what my potential was. And when I started sailing and went on board my first vessel, it all was an adventure initially because I was the only one in my family taking up this career. But then that's where it all changed. As part of my career, rather, I had to spend a substantial amount of time as a trainee on board a ship. We sailed from the Middle East to East Africa, calling different international ports and international countries. I have always been very fascinated to learn about new cultures and meet new people. But then, when everything is going so well and so easy, one stops thinking about the kind of challenges that you may face in the upcoming days or in the immediate next moment. And that's why, as a sailor sailing on board a ship, you are asked to keep up with all your emergency drills always. Out at sea, you don't have the facility to call a 911 or dial 108. You have to be your own doctor, you have to be your own medic, and you have to be your own firefighter. So piracy was also a part of these drills. And however, physically I was very much involved in these drills, but then with the state of mind at that young age, mentally, you never feel that this could happen to you. The attitude was very कि कुछ नहीं होता है. But then कुछ हो गया, and it all changed from there. I still remember, it was an early Sunday morning, 11th of April, 2010. A beautiful day out at sea, calm sea, cold breeze, and the splash of the waves hitting the hull of the vessel with giving you a very soothing sound, just like a picture-perfect day. Everything going normal as routine, and suddenly you hear the emergency alarm go on. For a moment, in your head, you try to recollect that this sound of the alarm is for what kind of an emergency. And from there, within the next 30 minutes, we completely lost control of our ship. 26 souls on board from all different nationalities and different religion, unaware what's going to happen moving forward. Unaware, are they going to live? Until when are they going to live? Are they ever going to see their families back? Will they ever be able to tell these stories to their families back? Unaccounted number of unaccounted number of armed pirates on board, making you move, giving you instructions to sit, stand, walk around over a gunpoint. When a 19-year-old is holding an AK-47 in his hands like a cricket bat, then you realize the reality of life. And this is what life had begun for us. This chapter of my life really made me realize the person I was. The whole incident was for so long, that is 11th of April 2010, ongoing until 11 months, we all, and including me, went through many different stages of physical and mental change. When I talk about mental change, I say our mental health and psychology. When you are dealing with situations where you don't know how long it's going to take for you, or rather when you are confined in a very restricted space, many thoughts come in your head. The physical change, where you are living with barely just one meal a day. In those meals, you can't taste any salt because the salt on board is over. You hardly have any drinking water, and the hygiene conditions are extremely going bad as per the day. So how do you cope up with that? For me, at one point of time, it got very, very difficult. Every night before going to bed, I would just hope that as this incident happened to be overnight, it would get over with me also overnight. Like tomorrow I just wake up and it's like a dream that I woke up to, and I don't see the pirates on board. I used to think about my time prior to the incident so that at least if I could able to get any sleep, at least I would have some dreams about my life before that. And the worst part was the feeling that you know that your parents sitting back home are unaware, or they haven't heard it from your mouth that you're alive. There were days when I did not want anything. I would have accepted to settle with what I was if given an opportunity to just pick up the phone and call my parents and tell them, Mom, Dad, you're hearing from me and I'm alive. But it was those days that really brought me down. However, I came to a point when I realized that I had to fight my own battles. I had to not fight with the guys holding the gun at my head, but fight within myself. I had to wake up every day morning with a mindset that I'm going to wake up the next day and see the sunrise again. I had to wake up every day morning and think about my family and ensure that I fought the next 24 hours to go and see them again one day back. Nobody else would fight that battle for me other than me. A couple of years ago, we all came across this phrase, which we still use now very often in our livelihood. This too shall pass. It all started during COVID, when there were extreme lockdowns, people were confined to your homes, PCR tests, travel restrictions. I was reciting this phrase in 2010, 2011 to myself very quietly, that it will pass. COVID was indeed a tough time for all of us, even for me. I'm not standing here and saying that I went over it very easily. No, it was a tough time. But mentally, I was more ready to face a situation like that and accepting the situation like that. Whereas, unfortunately, with some people, it just backfired. Huge families were broken during this time. And that was a very saddening thing for me to read in articles about. But, as they say, and if you say, you should follow as well. Coming back to the hijacking, the incident made me a person that I had never thought about, the energies and the positivity that I had in me. The world has its own way of making one realize their own potential. It came to me the hard way, but it did come. After my hijacking incident, when I got back home, things were still not being served on a platter. There were challenges, and there still are challenges in daily lives for everybody. For me, leaving sailing and starting a career ashore was one of the biggest challenges. Landing my first job was a challenge. Climbing up the corporate ladder was a challenge. 2017, one day I decided I don't want to work in the corporate world and I want to be an entrepreneur. That was a challenge. But then again, the way I took my decisions during these challenges really helped me to make me reach from where I was in 2010 to where I am today in front of you. We all have our battles. We all have to fight them on our own. You win some, you lose some. But that shouldn't hold you down. If you know what your potential is, if you understand what you are capable of, nothing in this world will get difficult. I'm not saying that you can win all your battles. No, you can't. That is impossible. But one should learn to move on, to let go, so that the next one that comes to you, you don't have the burden on your shoulders already. A very small example, and it might hurt you all here, the World Cup finals that got concluded recently, right? The boys played so well, and one bad day, it pinched us, and it still is. But we move on. There was another news in the papers recently where 41 workers were stuck for 16 days in a tunnel in Uttarakhand. Now, I could relate so much to them with their spirit and motivation of living each day inside that tunnel when they know that there is somebody outside working day in and day out to get you out of that spot. The kind of things they must have done to keep themselves and their colleagues, to fight every hour, to fight every minute inside that closed space. Imagine if you are being confined to a place which is as big as your kitchen, or which is as big as your dining hall. Okay, as big as your kitchen and your dining hall in Delhi, not in Mumbai. Imagine that. Imagine you don't have the access of online deliveries. Imagine you have electricity just for 1 hour in the whole 24 hours. Imagine there is no civilization around you. You wake up and you are covered by sea on all the directions. Imagine spending 335 days there. Then you will say that I can take over any challenge, that I can cross over any hurdle. We all have our problems. I'm sure everybody in their lives are having their challenges that they are facing. But when you have, when your reaction to a problem or a situation is a controlled action, the 50% of the battle is won there. And I'm sure the same thing was happening with those workers in the tunnel. The only hope of light was the people drilling outside for them. But inside, they knew that they had to pass every hour. Ladies and gentlemen, I would today very strongly want to say a point on mental health. It is not very difficult to talk to somebody. It is not very difficult to volunteer to motivate somebody. We only talk about people seeking for help. We should also talk about to volunteer to give help. The moment you take your step and you come out and volunteer, you make a bigger difference. People might not want to indulge with you initially, but trust me, if you push harder, they will open up. Because if somebody goes in that cocoon of not speaking, if somebody goes in that cocoon of not interacting and not sharing his troubles, they become a victim. That's not where we want to push them. I, after my incident, did not want to get any sympathy from anywhere. I did not interact with any media channels for the initial few years because I was not looking for sympathy. I wanted to face all my challenges heads on from there because I knew I had a very big path to conquer when I had made the decision of not going back to sea. And I'm glad the decisions that I have taken since 2010 and until today have really helped me in some way or the other. At the age of 21, in 335 days, I did not come back as a victim, but I came back as a survivor. And this is what I tell everybody. Don't be a victim. Fight it out. Because time will change. Time will change for everyone. You just have to stand there. Even tides change twice a day. So time will change. Just be hopeful. Just be strong. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you have enjoyed this session.